In this video, I'm going to show you how to juggle two balls in one hand. And the great thing about this trick, besides just being really neat on its own, is that when you start learning three-ball juggling, it's a really good way to make combos, and there's just a whole lot more you can do to make your juggling interesting without really learning too many new skills. And it is also the foundation for four-ball juggling, so it is just an essential trick that you really want to learn early on in your juggling life. Now, in one sense, if you're just watching me juggle two balls, you may already have a pretty good sense of what you need to do. So what I would recommend is that you just get started practicing while you watch this video and just kind of listen to it as you're practicing. I'm going to give you some tips along the way and some encouragement about things you can do to learn this faster. And we'll just kind of learn this trick together. Now, a lot of people, when they start juggling two balls in one hand, the instinct is not to go sideways like this. But there's a tendency to pull the ball back in towards yourself, so it almost looks like a vertical plane if you really keep everything straight. You can learn how to do it that way, but it's not going to be as good for combo building because with three-ball juggling, the plane of juggling is parallel to your body. And so if you are then doing something that's perpendicular to your body, it's not going to be really great for building combos. So it's just better to learn it parallel to your body just like this, and then you can mix it in with your three-ball juggling a lot easier. Now, when you're first learning how to do this, obviously the first thing that you need to do is you need to figure out when do you throw the ball. Now, if we were to look at this trick really closely, what you'll see is that you don't actually release the second ball until the first ball is coming down off of its peak. But in a certain sense, psychologically, that's a little bit inaccurate because there is a wind up to the throw. And so the way that I think about it is as I see the first ball starting to peak, that's when I begin my throw of the second ball. And that seems to keep the timing down a little bit better. And then the other thing you'll notice is that your hands really are constantly in motion. And so what you want is to find that perfect routine, and you can actually hear it as you're catching the ball, is just that tap, tap, tap. That's what you want to achieve, and the best way to do that is to keep your hand in constant motion. Now, when you start juggling two balls, one thing that I've noticed with a lot of people who are just getting started, even though they know that it's supposed to move in a circle from the inside to the outside, there's still this tendency to throw the first ball straight up. And so they'll throw the first ball straight up, and then they'll kind of start the circular pattern after that. You really want to get into a habit of throwing the first ball in the same circle that the rest of the balls are going, because when you throw it from the inside to the outside, that gives you the room to throw the second ball so they don't collide. And so just focus in on that just a little bit. You might even want to do like one circle with your hand before you get started to try to get that motion going just right. Now, another thing, since you can use this trick to build into four-ball juggling, you want to try to keep your hands from passing completely over the center of your body. You want to keep it just to the outside of center. So if you kind of think of where your belly button is, don't let it go totally in front of your belly button, just to the outside, and that'll give you a good range of motion. Again, when you think about where your hand is going to end up catching the ball, it's going to be somewhere in this range. You shouldn't be really reaching or extending your arm too much. It should be a pretty comfortable pattern that you're doing, and that'll get the job done. Now, just like we taught you in our How to Juggle video, as you're practicing this trick, what you want to do is you want to identify the place in the pattern that's giving you trouble. So I already mentioned one, and that's a lot of people, they throw their first ball straight up, and so you want to try to get out of the habit of doing that. But most of the time, the problem that you're going to run into is when you throw the second ball, and this is true of regular juggling as well. There's just something about that concentration that kind of gets into your head. And so when you throw the second ball, sometimes it'll collide with the first one, sometimes you can't throw it soon enough. Sometimes it'll just throw way across the room. You know, you'll be trying to just keep it really tight, and for some reason one of your throws will just go way across the room. That's totally normal, so what you want to do is you want to focus on just that one throw that's giving you the mistakes. And so what I would recommend doing, if it is your second throw, throw your first ball up, but don't even think about catching it. Just let it fall to the floor, and then focus on getting that second throw just right. And once you do that, and you can actually get that second throw really, really well, then you can move on to the next step, which is to catch the first ball after you throw the second ball, and then you kind of build on it from there. Once you have your first two throws down, of course, you want to build it incrementally, so go for 3 throws, and then 4 throws, and 5 throws. That's pretty much the best way to learn any juggling trick. Now, another major problem that you'll probably run into, and this could be a long-standing problem if you don't really focus on it early on, and that's what I would call drift. And that is when you're doing the throws, you might find your hand is constantly rotating to the inside or to the outside, and you're kind of following the juggling balls wherever they go. This really takes some discipline and some focus to deal with. And so what you want to do is you want to, again, identify where is the drift coming from. Is it because you're not throwing it the right direction? If you're throwing it too far over, then in order to catch it, you have to move your hand over. It might be because you're throwing it too straight up, and then in order to do the next throw, in order to get it out of the way of the first throw, you have to go more to the inside, and then you start rotating almost like a sprinkler. And so this is one of those things, again, if you want to move up to more advanced tricks, if you want to get into 4-ball juggling, you really need to have it under control. You need to be able to stand still and just continue to do throw after throw after throw. Now, as with any juggling trick, you do want to practice it not just right-handed, but left-handed as well. And then once you get those down, the next thing that you could do, especially when you start to feel confident, is you can reverse the direction. It doesn't have to go from the inside out. It could go from the outside in. And this is going to feel like a whole new trick. You're going to have to really learn everything right from the get-go. Again, get it really under control. Do your best to try to not let it pass over center. You know, all of those different things still apply. And then if you really, really want to take it to the next level before you start building it into combos, which I am going to show you with 3 balls, is you could reverse it in mid-tricks. You could go from the inside and then change it to the outside and then back again. You could even have 1 ball going from the inside to the outside. There's all sorts of things that you can do with just 2 balls, and really all you're learning is 1 skill in forward and reverse. Now when you get into 3-ball juggling, there are a couple of ways that you can apply this. I'm going to teach you those tricks in different videos, but I just want to give you kind of a sense of where you can go, and you can actually make up a lot of combos on your own. But when you're juggling 3 balls, all you need to do to build a combo is to just do 1 2-ball rotation with 1 hand. And you can see that that already changes things up a little bit. And you can do the same thing. You could do 2 rotations in 1 hand. You could do a reverse rotation in 1 hand and then go back into your 3-ball pattern. And then depending on how you match them up, you can actually find that 1 ball is kind of flowing in between each hand. There's a whole bunch of different stuff you can do. Again, we'll get to that in different videos. This is more just to inspire you that this is a great skill to learn. So that's how you juggle 2 in 1 hand.